Okay, last class I showed you how to graph this, okay? As usual, we found the amp. This was your amp. The period was always 2 pi over b, which in this case, this is your b, so your answer is going to be 2 pi over 2, which is pi. We started at 0. We ended at pi. We found the halfway by taking half of this, which is pi over 2. We found this by taking half of this, which is pi over 4. And then we realized we counted 1/4, 2/4, so this would be 3/4. Okay, this is what we did last class, and we remember we said that there were 5 points, but if you notice, we only move 4 times. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something that has what's called a horizontal shift. Okay, we call it a phase shift. Okay, so this was the old way we were going to write it when we started at 0. New would be something like this. Y equals A, whether it's sine or whether it's cosine, it's going to be bx plus or minus c plus or minus d. Okay, so we're going to have two kind of movements here. This is going to be your horizontal movement, or what we now call our phase shift. This here is going to be our vertical shift. Our vertical shift is going to move the graph up and down. What this is going to do is this is going to change your midline. And what this is going to do is this is going to change your starting point. So how is this going to work? Okay, so going back to up here where I told you that we're only moving 1/4, okay? Technically we're moving 4 times. Technically what we're always going to do, we're always going to shift 1/4 of the period. That's going to be our movement going forth. So we're no longer going to start at 0. We're going to have a new starting point, and every time we move, we're going to move 1/4 of the period. So let me show you how it's going to work. So let's say we have y equals 2. We'll do sine. We'll do 3x minus pi over 4. We won't do a vertical shift to start off with. We'll start off with just a phase shift. So this means we are no longer starting at 0. Our amplitude is the same thing. This is your amplitude. It is 2. Okay, the period is going to be the same way. We're going to do 2 pi over b. In this case, 3 is b, so our period is 2 pi over 3. Now we're going to add something else. We're going to add 1/4 of the period. We need to know this because this is going to tell us how to move in between each one of our points. So we're going to do 1/4 of, this is what we found for the period, 2 pi over 3, which is 2 pi over 12, or pi over 6. That means every time we move, when we find one of our points, we're going to count by 1/6. But where do we start? That's a new thing. We're going to now find our starting point. Okay, our starting point comes from our phase shift. We just shifted the graph over. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our phase shift and we're going to set it equal to 0. So we're going to get 3x equals pi over 4. We're going to divide by 3. When I divide this by 3, it's multiplying by 1/3. X equals pi over 12. So that means we are now starting at pi over 12, and every time we move, we're going to move pi over 6. We're actually going to use this fraction because this is going to have a common denominator. So start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our new starting point, pi over 12. And now we're going to move 1 6, or I'm going to use the 2 over 12 because it has a common denominator. So this will be 1/12 plus 2 would be 3/12. Plus 2 is going to be 5/12. Plus 2 is 7/12. Plus 2 is 9/12. So when I graph that, okay, my amp was 2, -2. We're now not starting at 0, we're starting at pi over 12. Then 3 pi over 12. Then 5 pi over 12. Then 7 pi over 12. Sorry. And 9 pi over 12. It's a sine graph. Sine starts at the midline, so we're going to start here. It's a +2, so we go up to the amp, back to the midline, down to the negative amp, back to the midline. Now, in this video, I'm just showing you one curve, but you know you're supposed to do 2, and you would keep going. That was a phase shift. That's why, since we're not starting at 0, we can't do what we did here where we just found halfway. Okay, so we're going to know that we have to always move 1/4 of the period. Let's go to one where we have a vertical shift. So let's try y equals 2 cosine of, let's do 2x plus pi over 5 plus 3. Now, this plus 3 means we're shifting the graph up 3 units. Our amplitude is still the same. Our amplitude is 2. But now that my midline is 3, you got to understand that the highest value in this graph is no longer going to be 2. If I'm starting it at 3, the highest is going to be 5. You'll see it in a second. Our period, still the same. We're going to do 2 pi over b, which is 2, so we get pi. We're going to find now 1/4 of the period, because that's how we're going to move. So pi times 1/4 is pi over 4. And now let's find our starting point. Our starting point is going to be 2x plus pi over 5, I didn't need those parentheses, equals 0. 2x equals negative pi over 5, divide by 2, so I multiply by 1 over 2, x equals negative pi over 10. Now, here's where we start. This is how we move. If you notice, we have different denominators. So we're going to have to find common denominator here, which would be 20. So we'll make this negative 2 pi over 20. We'll make this 5 pi over 20. I also notice that we're starting negative. So when we start negative, and don't forget I'm shifting this graph up, so I'm going to make it a little skewed when I draw it. I think that's pretty crooked. Okay, we're going to start at negative 2 pi over 20. We're going to add 5 to it, so positive 5 and negative 2 now gives me 3 pi over 20. So now I know my y-axis goes here, in between the negative and the positive. So negative 2, 3. Again, I'm going to add 5 to it, and I could get 8 pi over 20. I'm going to add 5 again and get 13. Here's my 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 18. You don't have to worry about reducing the fractions. Now, here's the new thing. Oops, sorry. We have a new midline. The x-axis is no longer our midline. 1, 2, 3. 3 is our midline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a dotted line through my midline. That's what I'm using now. So we know cosine always starts at the positive amp. Okay? This is 4. This is 5 because it goes up 2. So we're going to go first point, back to the midline. Now my amp is 2, so go down 2. Here's my negative amp, it's at 1. Back to the midline, back to the, it's hard to judge without lines. And remember, cosine come from here, go down. And again, I would draw normally 2 graphs, but just for this purpose, for this graph, I only drew 1. Okay, so this is a quick little overall of what the lesson was that you missed. Okay, so we did a phase shift and we did a vertical shift. We also discussed if this was negative. If this was negative, that means it's a reflection over the x-axis. So if this was a -2, instead of starting up, I would just start down and then continue. And if it was a negative sine graph, so we know that a sine graph usually goes like this. Well, a negative sine graph, instead of going up, it's going to go down and then up. So that's going to be a negative sine graph. Instead of going from the midline to the positive, it goes midline to the negative. Okay, I hope that helped you.